Well, it's a cooperative effort between a number of the big wineries out there. They're going to build this winery, and they hope to have it in production to take next year's vintage. And it's going to run about $1.5 million investment. It will mean a fair amount of employment as far as we're concerned, and to a certain extent it helps us out with the loss of the Colburn Inn project.
Will there be any obstacles in the way of like the Colburn Inn project?
No, it will be off the main road, and thank goodness that we will not have to consult either the State Planning Authority, the Department of Main Roads or the Police Traffic Branch. The responsibility will be Council's, and I've assured the company and I've instructed the people here involved in it, our senior servants, that there's to be no delay at all, that they've got to get every assistance to get this project underway.
Do you think that this will be the forerunner of any more projects in the area?
I feel that it could well be, because there's a lot of room out there just where this winery is, and I'm hopeful that perhaps they may have some ideas to promote something else in this area.
When Sir William Dobell died in May last year, most of his paintings, certainly his major ones, were well enough known because they'd been shown in this gallery, the Newcastle City Gallery, only a few weeks before. But this one wasn't. It was found in the effects in the house. Mr. James Gleeson, the art critic, and here to open the exhibition of Dobell paintings tonight, has brought it to Newcastle with him. Is it really a major work, Mr. Gleeson?
I think it is. There's no question in my mind that it is a very important Dobell, and one that I had no prior knowledge of until it was discovered in his studio after his death.
Well, it's been called Wanji Boy. There is already a Wanji Boy elsewhere.
Yes. In my opinion, it's a second version of the original Wanji Boy, perhaps painted some time later. It seems to be a little more free in style, more vigorous, rather in the manner of the Helena Rubinstein portrait. So I think it could have been painted perhaps a year or two later, but it's certainly of the same model, I would think.
I noticed that it's not signed. Does this mean that Dobell himself didn't think much of it?
No, I think it probably meant that he intended to do some more work on it. He often put things aside that he wasn't quite happy with and come back to them later on. He only really signed works at the very last moment before they went on show or were sold.
Well, the original Wanji Boy, which is much the same as this, is in a private collection.
Yes.
What's likely to happen to this one?
Well, I think eventually it will be sold by the Dobell Trust to benefit the foundation and to implement the terms of Sir William's will.
Well, we're talking about the Dobell Trust. I noticed that the picture has already been reproduced down here in a slightly smaller version. This, I gather, I believe, is to raise funds for the Dobell Trust.
Part of the profit will come to the foundation, and that will help to swell the coffers and to make the scholarship more worthwhile.
Do you think that this painting and its reproduction is going to rank in popularity with his famous Strapper and others?
I see no reason why not. I think it's a very important painting, a very beautiful painting, a tender and a very competent painting. I can't see why it won't rival in popularity his very greatest paintings.
What about these drawings that are on exhibition here? There are thousands of them. They're obviously not all on exhibition.
No, only a fragment of them.
Is this a fair representation of Dobell the draftsman?
A very good cross-section. And when you say Dobell the draftsman, you're really talking about Dobell the artist, because he was first and foremost and all the way through a draftsman. Even his paintings are drawn with the brush.
Now this is it's characteristic Dobell, but not necessarily characteristic painter.
Well, yes, I think it is characteristic both of Dobell and of his type of painting.
It's not the normal way that particularly contemporary artists go about painting, though.
A lot of painters don't draw when they paint. They use flat surfaces and planes, and the quality of draftsmanship doesn't come into it. But Dobell never stopped drawing, even when he painted.
Let's come back to this Wanji Boy. There's plenty of draftsmanship there.
Oh, beautifully, yes. I think it's marvellous the way he suggests the form by modelling around in this way. And I think it's an interesting point about it is that there is quite a difference between the way the face is modelled, which was perhaps closer to the original Wanji Boy, and the treatment of the background, which is much freer, more brisk in handling. Perhaps it was this discrepancy which worried him a little, but to me I find it exciting. It doesn't worry me at all.
Well, the Wanji boy, at least in its newfound form, is on display in the Newcastle City Art Gallery, at least at the opening tonight. Thank you for your expression of opinion, Mr. James Gleeson.
Pleasure.
Alderman Brown, is this the first time that the council has undertaken an industrial subdivision of this nature?
No, the first one we had was back in about 1964. We had a tremendous amount of unemployed, and they felt that we should try and encourage industrial development in the area, so we used some of this money, and we did receive some criticism for this, but we finally developed an industrial estate which today is employing about 400 men. Now, as far as I'm concerned in my council, we feel it's more important to be able to give people permanent employment than perhaps even to worry too much or to give too much stress to the pothole problem. People, as far as I'm concerned, are more important to me than a few potholes in the roads.
And why the move to Curry?
Well, at Curry it lends itself for industrial development. There's a vast amount of land there. A lot of it is Crown land, and it is easily developed, and we hope that the Crown will cooperate with us to perhaps give it to us fairly reasonable price.
If you get the green light from the department, how long do you think it might be before you go ahead with the project?
Well, it will be a matter for the incoming council, but I feel if this council gives the start to the incoming council, that they will perhaps go ahead as quickly as possible on this project.
The police officer who worked in this one-man station at Gresford for 10 years was shot dead last night. He was 38-year-old Senior Constable William King, who came to Australia from Belfast in Northern Ireland. He had 2 daughters, 10 and 7 years old. After King was shot, all available police were sent to the area where they set up roadblocks. Later, a man was detained between Patterson and Gresford. Today, a 62-year-old man appeared in Maitland Court charged with murder. He is Arthur Clement Waugh of Church Street, Gresford. The Justice of the Peace, who presided at the meeting, Mr Tamford, remanded him without bail until Monday.
Well, I think it was inevitable. Once the the party meeting had, on a 33-all vote, replaced Mr Gorton with Mr McMahon, and Mr McMahon had been for 20 years the sort of person who had been continuously rejected as a leader of the party, it seemed to me that this sort of thing was inevitable.
Well, do you think Gorton has transgressed with his articles?
I don't know. I've never been a member of Cabinet, but you may recall that that's one of the reasons Gorton was thrown out of the position as Prime Minister, because of his having spoken to some pressmen about the role of Malcolm Fraser and the Minister for Defence. But a lot of people in the community think that he had the right to defend himself, that there was some threat from this journalist and the book and the whole plot to get rid of him. I tend to think that if the whole party was unified, then he wouldn't have written them. But I just think that he thinks at the moment it's more important to defend his own name than perhaps to worry about Cabinet, which he says can't be trusted anyhow.
Well, is this a good thing for the ALP, this division?
It doesn't help the ALP very much as a party. It does throw up the idea, of course, that there could be an early election, because it does seem that nothing short of a miracle is going to help the Liberal Party government to survive. The divisions are very deep, and the scars that will be left by this episode, I think, will be there for a long time. So in that respect, and the fact that the Australian people have always indicated that they prefer a party who is unified, and we've suffered as a result of this over a long period of years, it does seem to me that perhaps the Liberal Party are in a lot of trouble electorally should there be an election.